Hello and welcome to this video. Have we got a wonderful little property here for you today. This is a 2-bedroom detached house which is in an area called
Porto da Pedra.
It's just outside Lousã and Miranda de Corvo. It comes with a rather large and weirdly shaped garden, as you will see in the pictures in a minute. So this was built in 1959. It is priced at currently €39,900, which in British pounds at the time of recording this video is 34,520, and in US dollars it is 45,990. So that price will probably be different depending on what time you watch the video, but it's just shy of 46,000 US dollars and it's 34,520 British pounds at the time of recording this video. This is a little place that is in between Miranda de Corvo and the Lousã, and so you'll find it here. We are in I would say it's the Vale de Porto da Pedra, which is pronounced
Vale do Porto da Pedra.
And it is inside, in and around Porto da Pedra.
Porto da Pedra.
So you're stuck nicely in between Miranda de Corvo and Lousã, where you will find a selection of restaurants, of cafes and bars, and there are supermarkets such as there's a Lidl in both Lousã and Miranda de Corvo. There is an Intermarché and a Continente in Lousã, as well as a Mini Presso. There is, I think there's an Intermarché or an Continente in Miranda de Corvo. I can't remember, but you've got plenty of supermarkets and places where to eat and drink in the area. And for those who are interested, this property is roughly an hour and 20 minutes away from Figueira da Foz, which is the nearest coastal town. So this is from Lousã. Now, as you're sort of smack bang between the two, Miranda de Corvo and Lousã. So you're around here. So you're looking at possibly it says an hour and 18 minutes, hour and 14 minutes if you go the long way, but the fast way round. So I would say you're looking at an hour and 20, hour and 25 minutes. I know it says an hour and 18 there, but obviously you've got, it's never always 100% accurate. So I would say I'd factor in 100. I would factor in an hour and 20, 25 minutes drive to the coast of Figueira da Foz. So, which isn't too bad. It's not too bad. It's a great area to live in, this area. So let's have a quick look at the property itself. So this is the property. It was built in 1959. It definitely needs some refurbishment. It's definitely had a lot of wear and tear. It says there is no parking. Now the parking, there's a space here. Now it's not part of the property that I'm aware of, but it just seems to be empty, and I'm sure you could probably get a car in there. It's not on you'll see a photograph in a minute. The garden seems to come round, but this part isn't part of it. But I imagine you could park there. You could probably park outside the property. It's a very narrow road, as you will see. And there is a derelict property opposite which you can probably park in front, because in one of the street views you will see there is a van parked there. So there's no actual official off-road parking, but I'm sure you'll be able to park here. At least we'll find you could probably park there with your neighbour's approval, because that place needs clearing out. It's just a mess. It's not being used. The post could probably do to be moved to the side more, the street post, so that's probably going to be an issue with your car. So let's have a look at this property now. So this is what I was telling you about. This is the garden. It is a ridiculously large garden that goes all the way around behind these properties. So there's no actual entrance to the garden, no other actual. That would have been the entrance to the garden, but as you can see, it doesn't seem to be part of the property. And I don't understand why that isn't. Now, if you look here, you'll see this property looks very, very derelict and run down. I don't know if this one here at the front is. So I'm wondering if you could actually possibly purchase that bit of land there. And then that could be part of your drive, and then you would have access into the garden. Because otherwise, the only access I can see from the property is up these sort of steps here. It's a very, very strangely shaped garden. It's a huge garden, very interesting garden, but as I say, that bit there, you would think that line would follow and straight to the road, and that would be your land, but apparently not according to this. So this is something you'd have to look into, and I personally would want to try and get that parcel of land to be part of it, because it just doesn't seem to make sense it not being part of the land. But it's a very, very, very interestingly shaped garden, and as you can see, it's quite a lot of it. So let's have a look at the aerial view. So this is the property area here. So that's your garden. Again, this is the back of it, And that must be, I can't tell if that's looking towards Miranda de Corvo or Lousã, but you seem to have a lot of hills to your right, which I would probably say is the Lousã Mountains. So you can see you're not too far away at all from sort of civilization. There's plenty of cafes and bars, and there's probably, I think there's a little cafe bar in the little town itself, not too far away. So here's another view from the front. So if you look here, you'll see that that's that derelict building there, and I don't know necessarily what this land here is, but you could always park your car in this area. It's quite a large triangular sort of shaped area. But if failing that, you could probably park your car there or there. That is probably what that's happened there. I don't know if that's someone driving or if somebody parked, but yeah, it's a very sort of smallish area. You can see, look, here's one derelict. That's the one I was telling you, that's the neighbour's derelict place. Nothing's been done with that, so that would make a great little car spot there. So I would definitely chase out. And here you can see there's another derelict building. So there's so many wonderful derelict buildings in and out of, in and around Portugal, that just so much opportunity. Now, this is interesting fact I read the other day, and that is, someone was saying that there is a shortage of properties in Portugal. And I believe that when they're talking about a shortage of properties, they're talking about a shortage of properties for people to rent and buy that is of a standard that people are ready to move into. There isn't actually a shortage of property in Portugal because there is so many hundreds, thousands, probably tens of thousands of properties that are waiting to be developed and refurbished into homes. So, I mean, this one definitely needs a lot of work because the roof is missing. The roof's collapsed in here. That's just basically a shell. But technically, you've got 3 properties that could be renovated into new homes. They're going to need a fair bit of money. But, you know, these properties are about, we're looking at one here which needs renovation, but it does actually have a roof and it does have all 4 walls. So it is a property ready to be renovated. It's a perfect property. So let's have a look more. So this Portugal could be a fantastic opportunity for property developers because there is a shortage of property in Portugal that is for people to buy and to move into right away to rent. So there's a great opportunity there. Right, so this is the property. As you can see, it is, you have to go up these steps here to access the property. I believe this little sort of veranda area is yours as well. It's covered over, so you've got nice little steps up and you go in through the door there. So again, like most properties in Portugal, or a lot of properties in Portugal, the downstairs was used for storing tractors, vehicles, farm, garden stuff. It was storage, and possibly animals were stored in there. So if you look in here, you will see that this actually looks to be quite head height. So this could actually be built into part of the house. Now you will probably see down the front of it there's probably a channel, and I do have to stress this. If you do convert the downstairs into part of the house, which you'll see when we look at the street view that the neighbours, I believe so is, then you're going to make sure to make it watertight because they do often have heavy storms in this area of Portugal. And because it's very hilly and mountainous, you often get a lot of water running down the roads. But they have these channels which basically takes it away. So there has been some nasty floods this year, but that's not necessarily a regular occurrence. So the downstairs, there's no photographs of the downstairs, unfortunately, but this could be made into a wonderful part of the house. So you'll need to possibly make some stairs to the upstairs. I don't know if there's any internal stairs. I don't believe there is looking at this. So you access it from the side here. But this here would make a fantastic sort of large sort of French doors, or, you know, brick this off, put some large windows in there, have your door entrance here potentially, and some stairs into the upstairs could be put inside. But as I say, there's no photographs of the downstairs area, unfortunately, so we can't see what's in there. But this is what I wanted to show you. This is, again, another wonderful property that has probably been left for years and no one has really sort of done anything with it. It's probably been lived in and somebody has died. It's been inherited. The family haven't got any, they don't want to, keep it, so they're probably going to sell it. That's what I'm thinking of. Now you can see there's looks like it's probably plasterboard there, so someone might have been doing some work to it. But again, just look at this fantastic old sort of wooden doors and wooden ceiling. Now this was built in 1959, so it's not that old, but it's got the old style. It's got the glazing panels above and the wooden architraves and the wooden skirting boards. So it looks great. I don't know how good the floor is. It looks like it's got some sort of lino or something on the top, so I can't see how good the floorboards are. and the wood looks like it's weathered. I don't know how good that is. I don't know if it's had some water coming through at the back or what. I really don't know. You can't see behind there very well, so I can't tell you how great that is. But again, I'm going to suggest that this building is going to need a full rewire, and it's also going to need some form of insulation. So you're going to, not so much these internal walls, but the external walls, if you can batten them out, put some drywall, plasterboard up against them with some insulation behind it to insulate the property, because they do get bitterly cold in winter. I have to keep telling people that. We were very surprised how cold it was when we went there, but it was ridiculously cold in winter. And because they have no central heating, if you can get some form of central heating put through, maybe some underfloor heating or something, then that will be fantastic. Let's have a look at another photo. So I don't know if this is a bedroom. It could well be. Can't see. That looks like it could be a double glazed aluminium window, which they often have over in Portugal. You can see how the wall is stepped in there. Again, I would probably batten that out and fill that up, because that'll be a cold spot, because the walls are very thick and they are very cold, but there's no cavities in them, so there's no insulation in the walls, and this will be a very thin part of the wall, so that'll be a big cold spot, I would say. There's been a few cracks here, but there's nothing that looks major. Just but that'd be worth getting checked out. Like with everything, wherever you buy a property, you always need to make sure that you get the right checks to check for things like subsidence and all that kind of jazz. But the property itself looks to be in quite good fine fettle, the actual shell itself. And again, here's another room. This, you can see, has that. You can see marks on there, so I don't know if there's been water coming through there. There's nothing down the wall itself, and I'm not going to say that they won't clean the walls, but it doesn't look necessarily the cleanest house in Portugal, so I can't see any water stains coming down the wall, but there is something on that wood there which makes you wonder if there has been some form of water coming through, but I don't see major rot there. But it's always hard to tell from a photo, so this could probably do with a very good clean up and a sand up and a paint. It's very dark with it being brown, so it could do with a new coat of dark, but you could also paint it white, make the room a little bit lighter. But I do love the wooden surrounds to the walls. You might be lucky, you might get this big unit as part of the property, a traditional Portuguese unit. Now, whether you'd want to keep that or not, I don't really know, but it's yeah, I don't know what comes with the property itself, because it looks fairly empty, to be fair, fairly abandoned. They've some very old TVs in the house. Again, here's another photo. This looks like it must be leading into the bedroom. It looks like there could be a window seat there. It looks quite nice. And another big crack down there. That's a straight crack. So definitely want to get that checked out. It could just be some slight movement, but it's definitely worth getting it checked out. And this, I'm not sure if this is like a living room area. It doesn't really say. There's nothing to say. Now, as far as I'm aware, the total living area is 124 square metres, and I think the whole total size of the area is 357 metres square, and I think that means the garden. On the description, though, there was a private gross area of only 59 metres square, so I don't know what that one means. I don't know if that's outside or not. It doesn't really make any sense. So here's your bedroom. Again, there's another crack in the corner. That's an internal wall. I don't know if that used to be a window that's been bricked up, but you can see the electrics are running down the front of the wall and the architrave, or the coving, sorry. So it definitely needs a rewire. And this looks like it must be part of the window seat, or is it just a unit? I can't really tell. It looks like it could be a wooden unit stuck in front of the window. Here's another bedroom. You know, obviously, is that a double bed or is that like a queen bed? It's bigger than a single. It doesn't look as big as a double, but it is a decent size bedroom, at least for a child. It certainly make a great office. These kind of properties are great for people who want to escape the cities, who want to live in more in nature. If you had a portfolio of rental properties, this would be great for someone. You can turn this into a nice office. People who make money online, people who work online as a remote worker, like I did when I was in Portugal. I was working for a UK company. I was working for 2 UK companies, and I was working from an office in the home, in the apartment, made from the bedroom. So this would be a possibly fantastic office for anybody who wants to move to the countryside and work work from home, work online, or a decent size bedroom for a child. And again, that's not actually plasterboard, is it? So I don't know what that board is from. Looks like a laminated board. So that probably hasn't had any work done to the property at all. So is this the doorway out? I'm assuming that must be the neighbour's wall that we see. That is the little veranda which you walk down. So it's this nice long sort of corridor that goes off into the different rooms. I ain't seen a photo of the kitchen as yet. So we've gone back round. So that is the only photographs we have. I didn't see a fireplace. I didn't see a kitchen. You don't see the downstairs. There's not a lot of photos to work with, unfortunately. But again, it is a fantastic price when you consider that this is €39,900, which, as I mentioned before, in UK British pounds, that's 34,520, and in US dollars, that's 45,990. So you're looking at, basically, it's under 50,000 US dollars, and it's under 40,000 British pounds. So this is a fantastic opportunity to buy a property that could be done up and developed into a nice home. Especially as in previous videos I've shown, and I'll probably show you one in this video as well, that in the UK you can buy garages for the same sort of price. It's ridiculous what you can buy in the UK. For this opportunity, you're getting a building that you can convert into a brilliant family home in a nice area of Portugal with a large garden. So let's go and have a look at the area again. So this is, as I say, you're roughly around here. You're in between Miranda de Corvo and Lousã. So let's have a quick look at the street view area. So this is the street view. So this is outside of the property. As you can see, you're going to want some rendering doing to the outside of the property. Now, I don't see a channel down the front of the property there. So this I would definitely convert the downstairs into part of the house. You can change that door, build that into a nice sort of large window, or brick it off so high and have a window in there. But definitely I would try and convert that. Now if we look opposite, you'll see this derelict building here, and as you can see, somebody's parked there, but you can see how narrow this road is. So there's not a lot of opportunity to really park outside your own house. You probably could park here, but you've got this stairway opposite and this very narrow sort of street drive to your property. So if we spin around, you can see how narrow this really is. Yeah, it's a very narrow gap. So you could probably park here. You might be able to get to park here because that's obviously an empty, rundown, derelict property. Let's just go in here if we can. And so yeah, you might be able to park here. So there's definitely parking in the area, I would say. Now look at the area. Look at the views. You've got some fantastic mountain views in and around the area. So we'll just quickly drive down here. And you'll see that there is lots of beautiful woodland, beautiful forests, and on a beautiful blue sky, clear day, you can, it's phenomenal. It is absolutely beautiful. So that's the mountain. I'm assuming that's probably the Lousã mountain range. And let's go back and have a look at the other side of the village. So we just go down here and just drive. I mean, I do love, this is the other property, which I believe is derelict, and this is, like I say, I can't get close to see the parking spot, but if you could buy that parcel of land as well, you could probably, depending on how wide it is, drive your car into there. Be nice if you can get a little bit more, but it looks like it's been used as a dumping ground. That's a caravan. I don't know if anybody's living in there. So this again is another property which is derelict, and look at that. I mean, look, I just love the brickwork. I love the doors. Now, this one is definitely going to need a lot of work, but that's just another one that's ready to be developed. And again, here, so is that part of that one, or is this another one that's waiting? Now, obviously, some of these, here's another one. Some of these are a bit all Heath Robinson, as we'd often say, but these are the things I love. I love the little verandas. I love the stairs outside, and the little nooks and crannies. So a lot of these Portuguese houses are just fantastic. But look, you see so many opportunities. I mean, this one here, they've got little chairs there. Sit there and have your little cup of coffee in the morning, looking down the road. But if you go for a morning walk, and you're not long before you're out into the countryside. But again, here we go. Here's another one that is run down and derelict. It's obviously had some sort of electrics or something to the property. And this one here, another one, fantastic opportunity to be converted into a home. This village itself could be brought to life. Now again, there's always that debate, isn't there, about people left these villages and moved into the cities to follow for work. When when farming was dying, or when machinery came in and took away the jobs, people left the countryside, they left the rural areas and moved to the cities looking for work. But then we had the internet, and the internet has changed the way we work. Now people can leave the cities and they can go and live in these rural areas, and they can work for companies all around the world. And so these types of villages can be converted again, these houses can be converted again and rented out to a combination of digital nomads or people who want to live in the countryside. I mean, some people may not want to be able to buy a £500,000, €500,000 house in the mountains, but they may happily purchase a house off you or rent a property off you that's in this sort of area without, with it being a lot more affordable to them. Because everybody, just because people work online doesn't mean they actually all make a fortune. Some people make a substantial and a living that they're happy with, which is probably not millions, it's probably not hundreds of thousands, but they're happy to have the freedom. And that's what can happen today thanks to the internet. And that's what a lot of these houses can offer people. So it's the location and it's the lifestyle that people want these days. I mean, just look at this. You walk out the door. So we go back to this house, for example. You walk out this door, you walk down this street, and then before you know it, you're here. You're in this countryside. You can go for a bike ride. You can walk the dogs. You can walk in the forest. You just so much beautiful countryside. Is this another one that's empty and waiting to be restored? I mean, look at that for beautiful, beautiful property. Again, another one. Quiet road, some fantastic views, mountains, hills, woodlands. There is so much to see and to enjoy in these areas. Now, I do warn you, some of these roads can be incredibly narrow. I do remember driving back from a little village near Miranda de Corvo, heading towards Lousã. We went across some of the hills and we drove up and down these roads at night time, and it was pitch black. And there was nowhere. There was banks and there was trees on each side, and there was nowhere to go if another car was coming. So it was a little bit worrying at first, because it was the first time we'd driven around these hills at night, and I think it was raining as well, which didn't help. But eventually we did manage to get into Lousã without bumping into any cars. We timed it perfectly. Whenever we hit a junction, a car had probably gone past, and then we would go down this long road and nothing else had come, so we were fine. But I mean, just look at these beautiful, beautiful views, beautiful areas, lots of great places to walk, and some stunning views, and plenty of fresh air. So again, let's go back to Miranda. So I'm just going to do a quick view around Miranda. Miranda is a beautiful little place. Like I said, you've got a Lidl there. There is another supermarket that I know of. If I can find it. I can't seem to find it, but there's definitely a Lidl there. I know that there's a couple of supermarkets. Now let's go and look for the centre of Miranda. So let's just drop us in here. Let's see where this takes us. So I've just landed smack bang in the middle of Miranda Corvo, and if you look, I mean, it's a beautiful place. So there's a restaurant there, restaurant pizza place. That is a huge store where you can get basically anything and everything. It's all sort of cheap stuff that is coming from China and places like that. There is a little river that runs through from the mountains, which sometimes in summer it's quite low and slow, but then it gets a bit faster towards winter. And if we go round through here, you'll see that there are sort of shops and places down there as well, but basically the centre is down this here. It's a nice little cute area. So this is the centre of, and you'll find that I think over here is like the council authority buildings, if that's the right thing to say. And you'll see that down here, you'll see there's a couple of estate agents. There's a little cafe there, which we went to, and there's another cafe here, or a couple of cafes actually, but this one here we went to a few times, which is very, very nice. And then there's another little sort of cafe eatery here, and a little greengrocers here, little mini Mercado. And if we go round here, there's other places, bits and bobs all over, and it's often quite spread out. But if you go back over this sort of little river area here, so like I say, it's quite cute. So if we go back to sort of over here, then you'll see that there's banks. There are other shops and sort of, they tend to have lots of shops below these apartments. Sometimes they're empty, sometimes they're not. You'll find a lot of these little places sort of dotted all around the towns and stuff. But if we go further over here, just try and follow the road round a bit, then you'll come to this area here, and there's another bar there. There's more banks and shops here, and over here you'll find this is the large market area. Now, I guess this is where they have the market inside here. They have little shops as well, little cafes and eateries around this. Now, if anybody's interested, they also have like a car boot. The equivalent of a car boot. They have like an open market here where people sell their second-hand stuff, and people come up and sell cakes, and there's also part of the market goes inside. So it's a pretty cool area. And if we go back over here again, you'll see that there's just more shops and more sort of cafes and eateries and all that kind of stuff. There's another cafe down here somewhere, or another couple, and then there is another one down here which I think serves sort of chicken and stuff, and then there's again more sort of fruit and veg, and you can buy your gas bottles from these kind of places. So Miranda de Corvo is a rather sort of a cool place. Now if we go, it's a nice place really. Is that the Lidl there? Let's just drop outside there. That could be the Lidl, and I believe it is. Yep. So that's the Lidl for Miranda de Corvo. It is actually quite a large store. And then there's also one, like I say, in Lousã. So if we go and have a quick look at Lousã, just a quick look. Let's see if I can find us quickly. So there's Serpins, there's Lousã. So I'll give you a quick look round the centre of Lousã. So if I just drop you here, first of all, I mentioned this in previous videos, this is another part of Lousã, the bottom part. You'll find that there are shops, cafes down there, eateries. There is Cosmo Pizzas. That was a great place to eat there. Nice little pizza shop, a restaurant. There are other places. There's an ice cream place there, which is rather cool. And you'll go through to here. There's more areas there's a large car park in that area, and there's an outdoor area where sometimes you'll have like markets on there. They'll have markets inside this building and events, but you'll find that there is, I think there's another pizza shop down here somewhere, or a takeaway pizza. Could be in there. Could be that one. There's another pizza place in there. Then you'll find there is a chicken shop down here, hairdressers, salons. I think this is your chicken shop, and there's your Frangos, Casa do Frango. So I guess that's House of Chicken or Chicken House, and there's a little place there as well. So this is like the bottom part of Lousã, and again more shops, more sort of cafe bars. Stayed at that one a few times. Over in this corner here, which is unfortunately no longer there was my favourite place. Actually, it was taken over, so it might still be there, but the original people who left, they used to be really good, really nice food, and the last time we went, it had been taken over. It wasn't so great, so that's not a nice thing to say, but there is it's still there, the eatery. This is the new metro that runs between Serpins and Coimbra, so that is a bus only dedicated route. So there's plenty of bus connections to the great city of Coimbra. This is like your bus station as well there. And then if we go back up here, you'll start to head in towards the old part of Lousã. And again, you'll see there's lots of little cafe areas, lots of cafe bars. Go up here. I love these buildings up here. Didn't seem to want to go up. And so you'll see we're now in the old part of Lousã, and it's a beautiful. And again, you'll see there's little cafes, little eateries. This burger place here, Burger Essa, has been revamped. It looks like it's shut there, but it's actually been revamped and looks great. Then there's the church, and if we go up here into further into Lousã, there is again more eateries. There's always little cafes and eateries about in these places, and it is wonderful. So let me go back into up here. More shops. Again, more shops, banks. It's a really beautiful area. And you've got the backdrop is the Lousã Mountains, where you go and find the Schist Villages, which we talked about in other videos. Again, more sort of shops and restaurants. But if you go down into the main square, let's take you down this way, and you'll find there's plenty of great parking in and around Lousã. And there's parking down here. This is the main sort of centre area of Lousã. Parking there, I think that's a school over there. And in this square here, you'll find that there is, I think that's like a sushi bar. There's plenty of eateries, if they're still there, that is. But these things have changed. This was Google June 2025, Google Street View. So I'm guessing most of these are still here. You'll find there's bars. There's a sports bar there. Down this end here, there's a big restaurant here. There's another restaurant here. There's a bakery up here full of lots of cakes. My favourite place here was Meeples. This was Meeples. We used to go there quite a few times. Loved Meeples. Just down here, there is now a restaurant, an Indian restaurant. So that's no longer an Italian, but it's an Indian restaurant. I opened up after we left. Unfortunately, I didn't get to enjoy that. And like I say, again, more restaurants in and around here. So Lousã is a fantastic little place. Lots of places to eat and drink. So I'll just take you quickly down here onto one of the main roads, and just here you'll see on the main road the big fire station here. If you go down this road here, this will take you to a rather large Intermarché, which let's go down here a bit more. So this is a large Intermarché supermarket. And then if we go back up onto the main road and turn left. So if we shoot down this road here, take us a bit further on the map. So we drive up this road here, and you can see all these beautiful sort of Portuguese houses. You've got the mountains on your right as you're going up, and then you come up here, there is a medical centre over there, and then you've got your giant Continente. And as I say that, there is also a Lidl's, and there is a Mini Presso. In fact, I don't think I've shown anybody the Mini Presso. So let me go to that's Intermarché. So let me try go here. Just drop us off here. I think this should be the right road. Yep. So that road up there will take you to the Intermarché. This is the road in and out of Lousã, the one we used to drive along. So you come down here, you'll find that there are chemists and other little shops, another chicken shop just there. I love the fact that everything's basically in Portuguese, but every now and then you see things like takeaway and things are in English. And the good thing as well about some of the supermarkets in the Continente, that if you go in there, it's tailored as well for European, foreign expats or immigrants, however you want to call yourself. Their signs will have English written underneath as well, so that is very, very useful. So on the aisles, so if you're looking for, say, crisps or drinks, pops, beer, you'll see them listed on some of the aisle signs, which is great. So up here we have the Mini Presso. Mini Presso is another popular Portuguese supermarket. Go in there a few times. There's one outside Villanova. I believe there might be one in Miranda de Corvo. But to be fair, the only reason why I've come down here is because I want to have a look at these properties again. I love these properties. These are fantastic. And again, I think a lot of these properties are empty, just waiting to be, I don't know if they're up for sale or not, but they are just beautiful properties. Now, again, come down here, this one was being worked on. This is looking really, really good. But I mean, just look at those beautiful windows, that beautiful balustrade. This one on the corner is being worked on. This was beautiful here. So we just go round the corner if I can. There was a row of old sort of Portuguese houses waiting to be sort of worked on and restored, and that one has, and it looks like it's a cafe bar. Now over here, this used to be, I believe, the old train station. It is now being converted into a little bar there, little sort of eatery, and this is the bus station or the metro station for the metro that takes you between Serpins and Coimbra. So every now and again there'll be a bus going backwards and forwards, and you can catch the bus here to Coimbra or Serpins, or to Miranda de Corvo, or Miranda de Corvo to Lousã. So the bus connects all these towns, and there's one in Miranda de Corvo as well where there's a bus route straight through, so you can catch that. So yeah, so that is Lousã, and again, beautiful building. So if we go across the other side and see it from that side, you can see the Portuguese tiles on the building. Got a big bus stop in the way, unfortunately, but you can see there's people there gathered around having a few drinks. So Lousã is a little beautiful little village, as well as Miranda de Corvo. So let's go back to the house quickly. Let's have a final look through. As I said, this is built in 1959. There's a large parcel of land with this very strangely shaped garden. It is priced at €39,900, which in British pounds is 34,520 at the time of recording this video, and in US dollars it is basically $10 less than $46,000. So this is the property. A quick look through. There's the garden, incredibly interestingly shaped garden. You could potentially sell some of this garden to possibly the neighbours. I don't know. You might be able to cut off so much like that and just sell. See if any of the neighbours want to buy it. You could probably claw back a few €1,000s, few $1,000 selling some of the garden off. Because do you need all that garden? Do you need it curling around the garden back to the back of people's properties there? This property here, you could just get away with having so much. You don't need that point there. You could chop off, and the rest of that garden could be sold to somebody else. Something to think about. Like I say, that bit there isn't part of the garden. I don't know why it isn't, but if you could buy that as well and have that as your parking spot, potentially that would be great. You're not too far away from these, from Miranda de Corvo and Lousã. You can see lots of woodland, lots of mountain areas, lots of great places to walk. You walk straight out your door, turn right and you're into the countryside, turn left, you're into the countryside. Either way, beautiful, beautiful area of Portugal. So this is an aerial shot. The roof doesn't look too bad from what I can see. It might need some work, and it will probably definitely need insulating to try and keep the warmth, the heat out in the summer and the cold, and keep the warmth in winter. But definitely a beautiful area, nice area. Like I said, you can see plenty of abandoned buildings waiting to be restored. In fact, if you had quite a bit of money and you was a property developer, you could probably buy the whole village up and have quite a few properties on your portfolio in this one village alone. Access to the properties up these steps, and I do believe that you could probably convert the downstairs into be part of the house, make that a front door, and I mean, to be fair, you could probably brick that up and have those as windows. And if you want to just enter in there and have steps downwards, so then you're leaving that completely secure from the outside. You could do that as an option, but that could all be converted into the house. It's just storage at the moment, I'm guessing, and that must go all the way through to the back of the house as well. Beautiful wood all the way through, wood doors, ceiling has been panelled out with tongue and groove boarding. I can't see how great that is, but you've got the wooden architecture, your glazing panels. So again, another fantastic building full of traditional. I say traditional, I mean it's only 1959, but again it's lots of beautiful wood in there, and some of this hopefully can be reused. A few cracks to check out. Definitely going to need a full rewire for the electrics, and as I said, external walls, they need to be insulated as best as possible because it can get cold in winter, and you're going to want to try and create some form of central heating throughout the house, because I've not seen a kitchen, I've not seen a fire. These places can get bitterly cold, so if you can insulate it and get some central heating in there so that winter you are snug as a bug in a rug, as they say, that would be great. So yeah, another crack there to be concerned with potentially. but it doesn't look as if the house is falling apart. It's just probably cracks from, how many years it's been since 1959 since it's been built, so it could be settling cracks really. There's not much sign of subsidence, so I think you'd be sort of fairly safe. Although that looks like the skating board is missing, there's been some sort of damage, but it definitely needs a refurbishment. It needs modernising and a fair bit of work. But again, if you can manage to keep a lot of the wood, then everything is looking brilliant. It's a fantastic property. I really like this one, and I think for the price at €39,900, which is, like I say, just shy of 35,000 British pounds and 46,000 US dollars, I think it's a fantastic property. All that land, fantastic area, fantastic lifestyle. What's there not to like? So I hope you found this video useful and interesting. Head over to cheapportugalproperty.com if you want to sign up for the free 5 listings newsletter. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Cheers and goodbye.